Hi, Trevor here, reflecting on life through music. Thank you for stopping by. Well, I trust you enjoyed my last video on mega influential guitarist George Harrison. Of course, he was one of the Fab Four, the Beatles, and it was so good to be able to talk about his life and to pay tribute to him. Well, I'm recording this video for the 23rd of December 2022, and we all know that in 2 days time we've got Christmas Day. So I thought what I'd do over these next couple of videos is we'd look at a couple of the, I suppose, well-loved Christmas songs for this period. Well, Carol of the Drum was written in 1944 by Catherine Kennicott Davis. And it was first recorded by the Trapp family. Now you're thinking, now where do I know that name from? Cast your mind back to one of the best musicals of all time, Sound of Music. And it was the story of that family and Maria, who became part of that family. The start of singing in that family. The escape from Nazi Germany as the father was trying to be conscripted by them, and how they escaped. Now, believe it or not, that was actually based on a true story. And the Trapp family, when they left Austria, actually went to the United States. And the singing career kind of continued on there, and they had some success in the United States. And this family was the first to record Carol of the Drum in 1951. After that time, there were a few rearrangements and a few other releases, and it was around that 1958 period that the song was renamed to The Little Drummer Boy, and it got in actually in the top 40, which was pretty significant for this song. Now, whatever you think about Christmas, the story is pretty compelling. We've got the story of a husband and wife having to travel to Bethlehem for a census. How it was a very arduous journey. When they got to Bethlehem, there was no room at the inn, and so they had to go out into a stable with all the sheep and everybody else, the cattle and all the rest of it. And she gave birth to Jesus, the Saviour of the world. We also know that in the fields in Bethlehem, the shepherds got greeted by the angels to say, "Hey, look, something pretty is amazing has happened. You better go and see this baby wrapped in swaddling clothes." So, and the miracle of that particular birth, because Mary was a virgin, it's regarded the Immaculate Conception. And so, but God came to this world in the form of a baby to become the saviour of it. Now, that is the key part of the story. There are wise men as well, but they came a bit later. They weren't there with the shepherds. They came a little bit later, but there are many other little stories that have floated around this legend of a story, and that is, one is this little drummer boy. This poor little kid, he could actually play the drums, but when confronted with this absolutely miraculous birth, he said, well, I got nothing to bring him. I've got gold, frankincense, of myrrh. What can I do? Well, just play the drum, I suppose. So with hopes held high, he walks to the stable, and he says, I can play my best for him. Mary nodded, and he played his best for him. And this particular story has captivated us ever since. I played my best for him. Parappa pum pum, parappa pum pum, parappa pum pum. Shall I pay for you? Parappa pum pum. It's a beautiful story, this one, and I think what I love about this particular song is that this poor little boy was able to actually give his best for the newborn king. And this is certainly the invitation to us at Christmas time, and that is that we are taken as we are. We don't have to be any different who we are. God accepts us for who we are in this world, and we don't have to be at a certain level. We could have lived any life we've wanted to over our time. There's no life too far gone for God to reach out and to touch us. And I think this is the challenge and the beauty of the Christmas story, that God would actually send his son as a baby to show how much he loved us. This is the power and magic of Christmas, and this is why people gather all year round in homes to celebrate this thing call Christmas. So I need another act to actually help me out with this video today, and it's probably one of my most favourite bands. These guys, contemporary Christian rock band White Heart. Between 1982 and 1997, these guys had 11 studio albums. Considered one of the greatest Christian rock bands of all time. 11 compilation albums in there as well. One of those compilation albums was called Souvenirs from 1990. And much to the delight of the Christian music world at this point, and also of White Heart fans around the world, Little Drummer Boy was featured on that album. It's considered one of their best songs. The great thing about this version, White Heart, of course, hard rock, is that we have this. There's a hard rock version of this one. We've got absolutely stunning keyboards by Mark Gershmehl. We've got incredible guitar work by Gordon Kennedy and drumming by Chris McHugh, bass Tony Sims. Of course, Billy Smiley's always in there doing what he does, but Rick Floring's vocals are absolutely stunning in this particular version. There's no live version of this one. So what I've actually got is the song to an animated clip of the story. So it's pretty cool to see that, you know, it really does actually touch your heart, this particular version. And it's so good to see, you know, the Little Drummer Boy given the story that it has captivated us for years. I've also got a clip of Mark Gershmehl. Of course, Mark and Billy Smiley were with White Heart from the start, and Mark being very much those two writing most of these songs. Obviously, they didn't write Little Drummer Boy, but he talks about his, because the keyboard features very strong in this particular song. He thought, and how he actually worked all day to get this right, but there was no opportunity for backup, and sure enough, the next day it wasn't there. So they were going to the studio 2 hours later, and sure enough, for the next 2 hours, Mark Gershmehl lays down this track again to create one of the most iconic keyboard parts for this particular song of all time. And just goes to show what can happen when, you know, when the guys got together and actually recorded Little Drummer Boy. And Mark considers this one of Rick Floring's most iconic vocals as well. Just really adds a bit of humanness to the story. Man, can you imagine now 2 hours beforehand it not being there? And so we've got a bit of a story from Mark Gershmehl as well. Couple of other versions of Little Drummer Boy. For King and Country's version is pretty amazing, very rhythmical. And then for something completely different, we got a Pentatonix a cappella version for you as well. So the links to those 4 clips are in the description below, and I've also included my last video from George Harrison. So if you want to recap on him, feel free. Well, however you find yourself this Christmas Day, I trust that it will be a blessing for you, an encouragement for you as you look back on what 2022 has been. Certainly been a massive year here, and in Life Reflections for Music, one of the biggest years ever, really, in lots of ways. And I look back on it with fondness, actually, and knowing that where I was this time last year and where I am now, it's a pretty amazing difference. So, you know, we can find a second chance in life. And it's great to know for me, you know, the ad hoc invitations that have come for Christmas Day for lunch and tea is pretty cool. So, thank you for everyone for hanging around and coming back for another one. And, you know, as this channel has grown this year as well, just a little bit it has grown. Because every time there's a new subscriber, that's a significant event. We're going to get on to Angels We Have Heard on High next time. Now, if you're on as Aussie, you know, we all look forward to Marina Pryor cranking this one out at the Melbourne Carols by Candlelight. So that's where we're going next time. It's kind of part of Australian Christmas folklore. So until then, I'll catch you around. Bye for now.